Hey, fellow film fans and theme park buffs, Englentine, the homegrown tourist here. And yes, we are broadcasting to both channels. If you like movies, go on over to Extreme Movie Show. If you're a movie fan that likes Disney theme park or any theme park, go on over to Homegrown Tourist. Here with the real Dr. VENKMAN, except no substitutes.
How's it going?
We've got a professor with us for it's been a while.
It's been a while. It has been. It's been too long.
And of course, Rob Classic.
Good evening.
Now, I know we're late to this particular party because this was announced like last week, and in internet years, that's 10 years from here. It's just Mulan is going to be on Disney Plus. Now, I pay for it. Professor, I do believe you have it as well, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I do also believe that VENKMAN's got it.
Disney Channel, yeah.
And so I know I do pay for it every month. And what they're saying is, in order for you to see this movie when it comes out, it's going to be an extra $30. $30 on top. Now, I knew that, okay, yes, it's going to be coming out to Disney Plus, and I thought it might be a movie that they would use to drag in more subscribers. But there's this thing now that they're actually charging extra. And my first thought was 30, really? Okay, yeah, I'm going to wait. Because this is about the price, actually about $5 more than the price of a Blu-ray. This is, and I'm thinking, why are you going to pay an ownership price for a rental? I know where Rob stands on, so we're going to get to him last. Professor, what did you think about when you heard this?
I thought it was fake because it sounded too atrocious to be real.
Really? Okay, so you're on the anti on this one.
Well, I understand that Disney needs to make money off of this. Any other business, just because you're Disney Plus, now if it's like renting a movie, basically, which is what you're doing. My thing is, can I get a DVD in the mail?
For 30, you get the movie, but can you be promised a hard copy as well for $30?
Like I said, whenever Voodoo had this thing, you bought a movie, or usually they only have it available for purchase or rental, sometimes both, and you got the option. They had a deal with Walmart. I don't know if they're still doing it anymore, but Walmart would mail you the DVD. You'd be basically paying for you pay for the DVD plus the digital thing, and Voodoo and Walmart would split the difference, and you get like a week or two, you get the DVD in the mail, which I thought was actually good for $30. They actually did. That's how I got Wonder Woman.
You get a rental and the movie itself. $30 is an absolute A-OK price. Yes.
Well, you actually own the movie. Actually, it was. You actually bought the movie, or you could just rent the movie as another option by itself without buying it. But it was like $5 to $10, depending on how old or how new the movie is.
Yeah, because you are already spending the $10 a month, or in my case, $14, because I've got it hooked up to Hulu as well.
Yeah.
But you're already spending $10 a month to get the service, which, okay, fine. Plus now you're spending the $30. So yeah, why not something like that? Hello to Dark and Link. Yeah, we could see your messages. Hey to Joe Rogers in the house, Jim Sorensen. What's up? And of course, Mom, how's it going? She's saying it's too expensive. 30 extra to rent Mulan on Disney? No, thanks. Yeah, it's like going to the movies and buying popcorn. Yes, of course. And I hear a lot of people saying that, well, when I go to the movies and I pay for it, it's this and this and this. Well, you know what? I don't buy the popcorn. If I'm going to spend $50, I'm watching my movies at Disney Springs. I'm going to be walking out and getting a dinner somewhere nice if I'm going to spend that much. Rob, you are usually, as you said before, the contrarian on this. Where do you stand?
In all honesty, I don't know if this is the first movie Disney's tried pricing on their VOD. I'm wondering if they're pricing it too low.
Really?
Yes. I say that because you got this price discovery going on where they're trying to set the tone for what they can actually get away with financially. And the way they do that is by adjusting it. So I think 30's a decent ballpark price. Maybe 40 might have been. Obviously they thought that was too much. But here's the thing: people that are Disney fans or fanboys. You know that there's no in between. So I think them going out on a limb and doing it, I think, is a great thing, because this is going to be the future of a lot of media stuff. I think we're going to have a lot of falling out over the VOD industry here over the next few years with theaters and other content providers. So why not? It's going to be cheaper for a family. Disney knows this. Disney's also probably cutting out the middleman, going to make probably more profit than they do, depending on how their contracts are structured for major releases. Why not?
Okay, that's
Well,
an interesting take.
The
Go ahead, Fred.
the one thing about it is that it's only releasing on Disney Plus, because we have had digital releases. Trolls World Tour, it got released digitally, and I think it doubled what the first movie made.
Yep. That's
But
what
this
opened
is-
all of this up.
But this is only releasing on Disney Plus, so you need the streaming service to rent a movie, and
Correct.
that movie is going to be on the service in 6 to 9 months anyway. It's just honestly not worth
Sorry,
it.
go ahead. Sorry. To go and play devil's advocate with Rob, though, I'm talking about it first as a fan, but if I'm thinking as a Disney exec, brilliant, because if people who are not already signed up want to see this movie first, then they would have to sign up. There are a lot of movie YouTubers, movie bloggers, reviewers, whatever, who, if they don't have the service, in order to be first or early enough to get a review of that Mulan movie out, they're not only going to have to pay the $30, but they're going to have to get the service as well. So at the very least, for 1 month, they're going to get a boost or two.
I'm not saying it's going to fail. I'm just saying I don't like it.
There's a guy in Paris. He's the owner of the Cinepol of Palais-les-Cieux. He told the Paris in Paris. He told them deadline. He's like, by losing Mulan, we lost the possibility of offering our audience the long-awaited film that would have helped us after these past hard weeks. It's also a bad message to send the public who had been expecting the theatrical release.
That is, a lot of theaters are
Did you see
really,
this guy?
really pissed.
This
about
guy went viral after a video service of him taking a baseball bat to the cardboard cutout. In the theater.
Okay. You know what? As the person who worked in movie theaters here, I saw a lot of people get really, really ticked off at this guy destroying this display. Oh, you should have sold it. Oh, you should have done it. Oh, you should have. Those things do not last. People climb on them. People take pictures and they drop stuff and they tear them. They rip it. These things do not last. That would have been in the dumpster.
Did you see how big that is? How would you even get that in your house?
Huge. Yeah. And that's another thing. Yeah. Sell it on eBay. No, because it will take up your living room.
Well,
These things are huge. I used to, Rob, you remember when I used to have all these movie stands and everything everywhere? They took up a shit ton.
You had a fortune in secondary things that now people might pay top money for, that back then posters were the occasional thing, and now with all the merch stuff going out, it's just another income stream. And the fact that Disney's going ahead and charging $30, like I say, it's brilliant in the sense that, you know what, who cares what other people think about it? The point is like you mentioned, 60 to 90 days, or actually no, longer than that. It's 2 to 3 quarters worth of time. That's enough time for subs to either come on board for an income stream or get dropped off. So that retention rate's important at Disney. So absolutely, they'd be very smart to maybe have, say, 2 or 3 tentpole movies like this year that they say, okay, we're going to charge you for this A-list type movie, and then that way they can keep churning, hopefully, a positive sub count for them. And again, I am not a Disney fan at all, especially when I remember original Disney. It's kind of ironic, though, too, that Disney's put such a stranglehold on, intellectual property with copyright things and over the past 100 years that it's gotten to this point where we don't know who owns the rights to what unless it's in the public domain. And then what about this and what about that? Screw it, Disney, you got your own in-house studio, make a few movies like this. It's going to be cheaper for you. It's the right way to do business. And if other companies don't follow, they're going to get left behind.
So here's a quote from Bob Cheapik. We call him Mr. Cheap. We're pleased to bring Mulan to a consumer base that's been waiting for it, as we had to move our release date several times. He said, we're looking at Mulan as a one-off as opposed to trying to say that there's a new business winnowing model.
Okay. If this movie is successful, there's no way it's a one-off. If they make a ton of money, if they find out that this is a viable business, there's no way this will be a one-off. Now, it might not be, as Rob says, the tentpole pictures. Mulan was supposed to be one of their year's biggest. I was looking forward to it because it's supposed to not be a remake of the cartoon, and it's its own story. It's just based on the same story that was told in Mulan, based on the history of the person.
Like I said,
If this is any way successful, we're going to see it. I don't think it'll be the big ones though, but I do believe, much like Prime, if you have Amazon Prime, it'll say like free with Prime, and now these are the ones you rent. I have a feeling we're going to start seeing Disney doing that.
You know what's funny though? This comes back to the conversation before when we would just move straight to digital. Were you willing to pay the $20?
No.
Well, the problem is that you don't get the movie though. You only had the streaming rights, and then you're already paying on top of this. Now, if this is Vudu where it's free to have, and then you pay for the movies you want to download or basically buy. That's one thing. But like Marania said and Joe said, like $30 extra when you're already paying for a service, you're already paying that much. No thanks.
Okay.
But of course, there's going to be people who pay this, though.
Yep.
And that's like I said, there's going to people who are going to fork out the money because they're like, well, maybe the movie will be good, or they think it's justifiable. I'm like, send me a freaking DVD in the mail.
It's a pay-per-view inside of a pay-per-view, is what Paolo's saying here.
It's not true, though. You have access to the channel, period. And they decide what content they're going to put on there. So while they own a lot, X amount of hours, they're going to have to start generating more stuff. And I guess The Mandalorian was a hit. I don't know if that was a week-to-week thing or if it was a binge watch or what. But they can do what Netflix and some of these other companies almost can't do, and that is they can have this quote-unquote higher-level content type stuff on there. So let's be honest, they're going to have to get money out of it somehow, and this is probably a way that they can figure out, you know what, might as well get ahead of the curve now and make what we can from it by trying this pricing strategy out. If it fails by their internal metrics, they'll adjust. Yeah,
we're not
we vote with
talking
our
about
pocketbooks. So people pay it. So what?
We're not talking about content made for that's what Netflix has been doing. They'll make their original content. People pay for their channel, and we get to see that original content. They pay for the new for making the content through our dollars subscribing to the channel every month. What Disney is doing is saying this movie that was supposed to be out in theaters, you can now see on our streaming service. Now, what this is doing, and you see a lot of theaters getting mad at this, is it's going to be released on the same day it's supposed to show up in theaters, especially the foreign ones. So now this opens up to a whole different ball game, because it's not like Netflix. They put out their movies. They come out every so often. This is absolutely much like In-Game is going to go to the theaters. Plus, if you own Disney Plus, you can just see it at home if you want. That's the thing that they're testing out right here, right now. And if you think that Disney is going to care about the guy in Europe or the guy in China, even though, of course, we've heard that they've been catering to the Chinese market, if they can successfully get people to go see it enough in theaters, plus the Disney Plus people stay home, that will be the new norm. But this isn't your normal content that you see, like Netflix puts out the Daredevil TV show or that Charlize Theron sci-fi movie that came out or something. This is a completely different ball game. All these movies were supposed to release into the theaters this year. Frankly, I've said it before, just make it a wash, put it on VOD, and then let it go. And because I think they should just say, okay, we're not going to be opening theaters in 2020. It's just not going to happen, guys.
Like I say, it's double dipping.
This is also speaking for the type of content they're going to be releasing, because the only movie that they released on Disney Plus in recent months is Artemis Fowl, which to most people was quite foul. So
haven't seen it yet.
If all we're getting is cruddy content for Disney Plus, and then we have to pay for anything that's better, that's new, it's not a good message. It's not a good way of looking at things.
I just disagree totally. What do you think Netflix is? It's a bunch of garbage vaporware, but they churn enough new crap out that people are addicted to watching it, whether it sucks or not. And we all know the quality majority of stuff on Netflix and just overall in general is garbage.
It used to be before they went crazy, they were putting out quality stuff, and then they just went on a content binge. Like they just had to buy every intellectual prop. There was we want that, and it just started.
But Netflix at the same time does release good stuff. I've heard great things about The Old Guard, and there's a movie with Ryan Reynolds that I can't remember the name to right now.
6 Underground.
Yeah, that was enjoyable.
Yeah, that was fun.
They're good for knowing to go there and find something to watch. That's what Netflix has done well. You can argue about the financials and if it's long-term going to be success or not. You know, I'm a bit bearish on them like I am Disney in general as a company. But what I do like about what Disney's doing as a company is even though they lost like $500 million this past quarter and they have issues with stuff going on, they're willing to at least try to do something different to their bottom line. And remember, Disney down here in Central Florida has got the NBA going on. Sports ratings are tanking big time, and that means the following advertisement dollars are not going to be there. And I believe Disney owns ESPN. Yep. People do not like how woke everything's gone with it. And speaking as a guy that used to do the Rob's Redskins review, Redskins name is no more. The NFL and all these tentpole franchises in sports are really going to have serious financial issues going forward, and they're going to have to stream or they're going to have to revisit how they do business. Disney, correct me if I'm wrong because I don't follow Disney, but wasn't there a movie or a play or something, Hamilton, that they didn't charge for and they put out?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like going back to the old, as I like to joke about here in Pine Hills, the crime hills, slime hills, all the stuff we call it Chopper City. Hey, let's pass out some crack for free, get people addicted to it, so then we can charge them an arm and leg for it because they're going to need their fix. And you know what? I don't agree that it's double dipping. You pay for the access to what they choose to put there for you. They have the ability, at least content-wise, to tier off what they think's valuable. So if they throw something like The Mandalorian, which people might have liked or considered high quality out there, and introduce with a new streaming service to get you to sub, great. Then they can put something like Hamilton for free on there because they have it, that's fine. Oh. But they're not sharing money with the theaters or other people to it. That's direct to Disney. So it's kind of like being on YouTube. It's great that we're all on here, but if you own everything directly from A to B, to the listener, that's so much more valuable. And so I think Disney's at least attempting to do something smart here. So what
I'm seeing, they're according to CBR, they're saying that you'll have permanent access to the film. Is just that you only streaming though. You won't get a DVD in the mail or anything like that.
And physical ownership, just like physical money, is gone by the wayside. We're in a digital world. That's how they're going to want to do it. It saves so much more money for them too along the supply chain when it comes to these things that they don't have to worry about it. Allegedly, it may reduce pirating. I mean, that's debatable, but it makes sense.
What's great about this, it gives me the option to say, you know what, I don't feel bad about waiting for it to come out on DVD.
How so?
Because I'm not going to pay right. like an idiot.
Right.
So when everyone else does it, and maybe this is like the new thing they're going to start doing. You know what? Well, eventually, it's going to come out on DVD.
Now, I want to get some comments here. Maranya was saying there are Disney pay pigs who they are counting on to support this kind of scheme because pay pigs will blindly support Disney. That's why why Disney believes they could do this. Being a Disney pay pig, I don't know if I'm going to be doing this one. They used to put out good content more often, but they went crazy. Basically, Netflix now throws mud at the wall, waiting to see what sticks, says Zach Richmond. And Paolo saying, sure, if you pay so-and-so money at the theater, why wouldn't you pay the same at home? Which is the logic a lot of people are using to justify this. The
family, it costs for two people, it's like $18.
Here's the thing, even though I worked out at a movie theater, I'm not a movie theater guy. I really am. I don't even appreciate the fact that I'll be watching a movie and Gail will decide at the most crucial point of the film to start talking. My joke has always been, we'll be watching Empire and they'll be like, Luke, Ben never told you what happened to your father. Hey, do you want to go out and every time the most important part of any movie comes out, that's when Gail decides to have a conversation. And that's part of why I don't like going out is because a lot of people have forgotten that they're not in their living room. And I prefer, and once again, Rob can attest to this,
Wow.
I prefer Tuesday afternoon. I'm by myself. Nobody's around. I don't care how big the movie theater is. I prefer to be there by myself.
Exactly, and I agree with you. The crinkling of the wrappers.
You know that drives me. That drives me. That silent moment between the previews and the movie where it goes really quiet and all you can hear is tear.
Well, my thing is that I don't care if people eat in the very beginning, but once the movie starts, you shut the heck up. It's like, I want to escape into Fanny's zone. I'm not here to listen to you. Popcorn's so good. No.
Now, if you say you're paying a $30 permanent, so you're basically buying it on.
You're buying, yeah. You have it as long as they have it up until they decide to take it down.
Exactly, which is why I say yes, buy your physical media as long as you can. Buy your physical media because things like on Community on Netflix now, you cannot get the Dungeons and Dragons episode because Chang dressed like a dark elf, and they even made a joke. Are we going to mention this hate crime over here? They look at it and go, "That's blackface." I'm sorry, I've seen black people. That's not how black people look. It was obviously meant as a joke, and they took that off. So if you want your media the way that you originally like it, you've got to go physical.
Yep.
Because you have no control over it if you don't. But I do agree with Rob, the fact that that is the way of the future, though. I think that we're going to see less and less physical media as we go. Paolo is saying, to be honest, I prefer to go to the movies alone. I'll go when I want, watch the movie, pay attention, and leave. No distractions. Yeah,
well, I watch movies at home by myself. I prefer because I don't hear somebody like either breathing through their nose next to me, or asking me questions. Who's that? So,
do you think you'll be flying up the Jolly Roger?
Not for Mount Mulan. Mulan doesn't tickle my fancy.
Right.
I didn't really even see the cartoon.
I will probably wait for this one just to get on Disney Plus.
Isn't it?
I cannot see myself paying $30.
I mean, I saw Pocahontas. Do I really need to see another movie after that?
For $30, I could go out to Disney Springs, get a decent sit down, have a way to bring it to you meal. For $30, I can get myself a Silver Age Spider-Man comic book. There's a lot of stuff I can do with $30 where I will physically have something in my hands or an experience.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I agree wholeheartedly.
How many bags of those little ranch peanuts you can buy?
Yuck.
The corn nuts.
What's an actual ticket today? $15 for one adult, and they tell you where to sit now?
It originally was.
That is something I am so against. I'm amazed that Americans haven't revolted against that.
Well, we put the mask on too.
No, you have to pick your seat before you go in.
Yeah,
where it's the assigned seating. No. If I'm going in, I want to be able to look because I don't want to sit next to that guy who looks like he stinks. I don't want to sit next to the family with kids that are going to be loud and just I want to go into the theater, look, okay, there it is. That's the best spot. And if I sit down like my story, of course, I worked at the theater, and in the morning I knew I was going to go see what's that Harrison Ford movie with the dog, Call of the Wild.
Oh,
I knew I was going to go see that later that evening, so I picked my seat, perfect seat, the one right behind the wheelchair bars, so you can put your feet up, enjoy the movie. Boom. So I'm off work. I go into the theater, and there are two people on either side of my gosh darn seat. I would literally come in and just plop myself down between these two families. I'm like, nope, not doing it. Not freaking doing it. Now, normally, according to the rules, you got to go out and spend 10 minutes waiting to get in line, get your ticket changed, and go back. No, there's an empty seat up and two over. I'm going to go there. It's this whole assigned seat thing is ridiculous.
Paolo's bringing up a really good comment that I wanted to touch base on because it's something you guys were mentioning earlier about Disney and, of course, Netflix and anybody else that streams. Not only do you have the United States, you also have, of course, these international countries where you have rate of exchanges and different issues, and we can debate economy and politics. That's not the focus of our show. But for 30, 35 bucks, like you're saying, a sushi platter, some sangria. I remember when I went over to Europe, the exchange rate was so favorable. I went to see American Psycho for like $1 American in like one of the best theaters I've ever been in Madrid. Yeah. And I'm like, oh my goodness, it was fantastic. It was a wonderful experience. And to your point, E, 15 bucks or whatever it is for a ticket, and then they look at you and say, okay, now pick your seat. Hell no. Yeah. No way.
It is not my favorite. Oh, and to speak onto this, when I went to Thailand, one of my favorite seafood dinners, I was on a beach and a guy said 150 baht and he'll get me fish. Literally ran into the water, caught a fish, brought it back, cooked it. I mean, the freshest thing I've ever had. It's amazing stuff. Yeah, we're not using that particular language on the Disney part of the channel there, Black Lotus, but Black Lotus is not willing to pay the $40 Canadian to watch online when a movie ticket would cost $10 Canadian.
I know what they are now, but before this whole COVID last year, Marcus Theaters, what they like to do up here, is $12 for nighttime.
Yeah, we were at 15 down here at AMC.
But well, yeah, it's AMC costs a little more. They're a little pricey.
Yeah. And Disney Springs.
Yeah.
But speaking of AMC, oh my gosh, they're adding on the prices for the cleaning expenses. We'll pass on to customers.
Oh,
of course. Yeah. Standard business practice.
Yeah, that's
they don't pay for anything. Yeah.
Ranging from frequent sterilization of venues, limited capacity, and more would all be passed on to consumers, says CEO Adam Aaron, who told investors. Indicating this would be in the form of decreased food and beverage prices or higher ticket prices. Yay! So $15 is now $20.
But that's what normally happens in any business. If you raise the price on something that the business has to pay for, it goes to the customers. That's
inflation.
Yeah, well, it's not necessarily inflation.
Well, not inflation. It's the other one. It's the other one.
Yeah, if you raise taxes on a business, the business is going to pass those taxes on to the consumer. Here we have assigned seat, says Paolo, at the theater. But if the room is mostly empty, there's an unspoken agreement. We can move wherever we want. And Black Lotus, sorry. It's just that this particular, because of the subject matter, I've got it divided going to both Extreme Movie Show and the Homegrown Tourist.
G-rated, no extreme language.
There you go. But once again, if you are into movies and you're with the Homegrown Tourist, by all means, subscribe to Extreme Movie Show and vice versa. So if you like theme parks and Disney stuff, go on over to Homegrown Tourist.
So what's great though is that say you don't want to pay the extra price for AMC. Well, you can go to Regal. Regal's they got reduced prices, admission to go in. You can watch your older movies. There's a lot of drive-ins are opening up now and airing old movies, and possibly those might be showing new movies on there. We don't know. Depends, because September is what kind of when it starts getting colder. Well, up here in the north here where I live, things start shutting down like that because you get
we're going to get colder. I believe we're going to be dropping down to what 78. 80 degrees, maybe 85 or something.
Oh, you poor thing.
You'll be putting on jackets, wearing blankets.
Oh, I can see you in a middle of a blizzard being like, no, I'm done. You're like what's his name? Bill Murray in Groundhog Day, just frozen. Yeah,
we have a blizzard every night when the sun goes down. It's just way too cold. No, of course not.
Well, that's what Gail brings you a shake, right, Denny?
There you go. Yeah.
Well, think about the whole AMC angle. AMC is known for maybe going to bankruptcy. They've had a lot of bad PR.
Universal.
Whatever you think of what's currently going on with the economy and the stock market, there's a few big entertainment companies that are really hanging on by a thread. And so this whole shuffling around, regardless of, again, what you think of with COVID and all that too, I think is only accelerating the process that Disney, I think, is smart enough to try to get out in front of. And when you have AMC in talks with Amazon to maybe turn on distribution theaters or do something different, you're going to have plenty of big pocket companies like Apple has got a crap ton of money. Amazon, they're sitting on the sidelines going, you know what? They might get a little bit of funding, might be able to reorganize some of their debt. But the point is it all comes down to that cash flow. If you're making positive cash flow, you can usually pay off your debt or, have a good enough credit rating where you can take loans out and be a zombie company like a lot of companies are out there, not just entertainment ones, and survive. AMC, I don't think is in a position to do that financially. I'd have to look at the books more, but from everything I've seen, what you just mentioned, Doctor, sounds like honestly, in layman's terms here in Pine Hills, it's a hit piece, and you're not going to see any good pub about AMC at all because they're going to be the first ones to go down, and it's easy to beat up on somebody that goes, "Oh my God, we're going to gouge people with $8 popcorn and $15 tickets and assigned seating." They're just the first of the big ones to fall. After that, there's still going to be movie screens. Someone's going to pick them up and buy them.
For the people who do go pay for the extra higher ticket price for the seat, you're going to see a lot more people sneaking in candy.
That was allowed, by the way. At the AMC I worked in, people could bring their food from wherever they wanted to. We didn't. The only place they couldn't do it was the dine-in theater. If they were going to one of the dine-in theaters, then they had to. They couldn't have outside food or drink. One thing though that the AMC did that Disney also did was right before COVID, they dropped a ton of money. Now, of course, we know Disney built up Galaxy's Edge, and they just had opened it, so it was this big, huge thing. And then you get they got the rug pulled out from under them. AMC bought a whole bunch of property and a whole bunch of different theaters as well, thinking that they were going to be able to expand and they were going to do all sorts of gangbusters. But right after big cash expenditure on both companies, they didn't have an income. So I can understand why Disney's going to be doing something like putting Mulan out for $30, and I can actually see it being done in the future for movies that would also open up on the big screen. You can either watch it on Disney Plus, or go see it in the movie theater. It's going to be released at the same time. The thing that I would be nervous of as a Disney fan, as somebody who has Disney Plus, is that they start tearing off their classic movies. You want to see Beauty and the Beast. You want to see what would be another one?
Little Mermaid,
Cinderella.
Yeah, Snow White. The big classics and such like that. That's going to be in the pay tier, where you also have to pay for the service itself. But then you have to pay a little extra to be able to see Beauty and the Beast and all of the big classics that everybody.
That's coming
and everything.
I think so.
That might just if Mulan is successful enough, I think we're going to start seeing the Disney Vault show up again. If for those of you who don't know what that is, when Disney first started releasing VHS and they first for sale, and they then went on to DVD. They realized that if they did it for a limited time, it created a sense of demand, a sense of urgency to buy it. So I think that if Mulan is successful, what you're going to start seeing is watch it now, because it will go back into the vault, and the vault will be the pay structure. And I think that's what you're going to see. The bigger, if Mulan is successful, I think we're going to start seeing the bigger movies kind of disappear from the service free, and it'll go on the pay and
don't forget too, E, and you had a big hand in this, and we talked about it for quite some time, that what Disney was able to do that so successfully was that they could charge a crap ton for, like, say, if it was on regular TV for, say, Cinderella or Fantasia or some older film, people would watch it, and they realized, hey, guess what? Not only can we release it for VHS, we can also do it for DVD and then Blu-ray, so different media physically.
Yep.
So now with everything being streaming, it would only make sense that since they're not going to be able to release it on physical media because it's all digital, that they're going to be even more particular about it. And also to follow on, and you guys may know this better than I do, the fact that they're getting subscribers, they're also getting all the data about you and cross-referencing it versus everything else. So I can see it almost, and not just Disney, but other channels, say, okay, based on E's watch preferences, we're going to put, this, and this, along with everybody else that watches this movie behind the vault the next time, because it's so valuable. So I can definitely see tiered structure coming, not just with Disney, but with anyone. That's because your metrics, your watch stuff tells them everything. That's how Netflix decides too, how they're going to be spending money. Well, if not a lot of people watch it, it's not worth the return.
Watch out for other channels as well, not just Disney, but if this is successful, Netflix, they just released that Charlize Theron movie that came out, or the one with Ryan Reynolds we were talking about. Something that's they might be able to get a whole bunch of classic films in there for really cheap, but if they made it specifically for Netflix, that might actually begin at some sort of pay structure as well. And will it be 6 months before it goes free, or will it be a year, or will it be basically until they stop making money on it?
I want to get back to Amazon. Robin mentioned a little bit of how they lost money back in the day. So, they lost $500 million in the last financial quarter, and their agreements. I don't know if many people really know about this, between Universal and AMC reached agreement that the studios films will play in the cinemas, but they'll be made available on home media after 17 days. And then AMC theaters will see 20% of the revenue gained from the home media sales. So, and the guy said, that guy Aaron, he's like, I'm expecting this to be becoming an industry standard, and I expect that some of our competitors will do this, if not all.
Yeah. Zach is doubting that Mulan will be successful. Go around the table. Start with you, Venkman. What do you think? Mulan on Disney Plus, successful?
It's not a cartoon series, so I think it's gonna bomb. It's not like Trolls or Lilo and Stitch and like that. I think it's gonna fail.
Professor?
I wish I could say I think it's not going to work out well, but I think there will be people that will buy it. They'll bite the bullet and just say, okay, it's here. We have nothing else going on in the world. Might as well. And we're all going to end up screwed. How
about you, Rob?
Well, without defining what we call success, of course, Disney's got the best PR on the planet. We know that, so you don't mess with the mouse. This is going to be a success. The question is what level of success. I think it's going to be a home run grand slam coming out of Disney's parks. I think the day after it releases, or actually the day it releases, you're going to see nothing but that massive PR stream. They know how to generate the hype machine. So I'm telling you, it's going to be considered a success. I don't care if it loses 100 million. It's going to be a success. And that's smart on Disney's part. Don't tell me I'm wrong, because you know I'm right.
Absolutely think you're right on this one. Not just because you're hedging your bet. You're saying even if it's not a success, then we're not going to find out that it's not a success. And that is actually absolutely 100% something Disney does. Not just did or will do, actually does. Alice in Wonderland was a flop. It bombed. People did not like this movie, but it is now, of course, considered a success. It's a classic. Everybody loves it, blah, blah, blah. But no, when it came out, it's a mess of a movie. If you watch it, everybody's trying to be the most crazy, and it kind of flatlines. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just a mess. But I absolutely believe that people are going to be getting Mulan at $30, and they're going to do it with a big old smile on their face because, once again, it's going to be $50 to go out to the theaters with all the kids. And if I prorated this, like if I rented Mulan, the entire family will be able to see it. So if I prorated that, we've got like 8 or 9 people in this house. That's $3 a pop.
$300 million is what I'm seeing. $100 million for just the PR and $200 for the film itself. Holy crap. So, I mean, you could just do quick numbers and say you need what? X amount of people to see it for break even. My goodness.
That's nothing, because right away you're talking about $40 for a new ticket. So like for me and Professor, for Venkman, if we all bought it, we would only be paying the $30. But there's a lot of people without this service who will get this movie or will get the service based on that. So that's $40 per view. It's going to go crazy.
I don't know how many new subscribers they're going to get for this movie. I just don't think I don't. I'm conflicted, because at the same time, they might see some, but I think most people that already have it are the ones that are going to consider getting it.
Let me put it to you this way: they're making the best of a bad situation, because it was already filmed, right? And now they're making decisions.
It was supposed to be out.
It wasn't made with
March.
Okay, so there you go. I mean that.
Venkman, what have you been trying to say?
I was just going to say that this might not make a difference. I don't know if people actually remember or even care, but the main actress supported Chinese police crackdowns in Hong Kong.
I don't think people are getting no.
And I said there are conservatives who still watch about that stuff, and they will not support people. I mean, there are people who just like say with comic books. There are people. A lot of,
especially young people. Young people get their news through memes.
Yes. But I'm saying older people who are older than us, my age and older, they see this stuff, and it's also they see this crap, and they're like, wow, they're not going to support stuff.
Nobody remembers that. as I said when we opened it up, when we started talking about this, we're a week late, and that's 10 years in internet time. What you're talking about happened, while I do disagree and I think it was bad, that was months and months ago. That is so outside of the public consciousness. Nobody's considering what the actor said. Plus, and also you got to think about this. If you're in China and you are anywhere near in the public eye, you better be towing that line or they will disappear your ass. So whether or not she actually agrees with what she was saying, that has to be called into question. And I'm not going to play any of this. Well, if it were me, I would do this or I would do that. If you know for a fact that if you say the wrong thing and that your government's going to disappear you, you're going to protect yourself. So I'm not going to, I don't think that's going to be.
Well, the other thing I noticed that too, is this going to play in American theaters at all? Because it looks like it's going to be announced they're supposed to be in Chinese theaters and in digital.
Every time they thought about opening up the theaters, they've had to shut down, or they were like, no, we can't do it. But from what we hear, this thing is easier spread in a enclosed environment like a movie theater. Now you could, and we even did this when we were open. We made sure like you had only one seat every 3 or 4 down to make this 6-foot distancing. But you honestly, I don't think they could really do that because people come in groups. Plus, people are going to have to pass by you to get to, like, if you have the chair, in order to do it, you can't have anybody go to the bathroom either because they might pass by somebody. So right now, I just think it's a big old question.
I like what Paul is saying. If it weren't for COVID, people could host a viewing party, set up a screen in the backyard, everybody brings something to eat and drink, 30 people watching, everybody brings $1. Yep. And you know what? In some states, you can still do that. Because you know what? People don't care anymore. Florida is more totalitarian control down there.
Are you high, bro? We are liberty induced, at least as we're turning bluer and bluer by the day.
Cinemark right now over at Universal is open.
Yeah. But
let's not forget the elephant in the room. It's China. So, I mean, it's a China film. It's going to be shown there. Disney's... Look, one of the reasons why sports in general is bombing is because of all the PC nature. I believe that's a fact. Anybody that's a lifelong sports fan is aware of it. And you see what's going on. And, basketball, my first love and passion, is unwatchable and has been for years. The NFL is that way too, unfortunately. But why? Because most everything is influenced by China. Same thing with Nike and a lot of the bigger programs too. And while everybody's kind of known it, the fact that it hasn't been shoved in our faces for entertainment over the years, and once Disney got a hold of ESPN, it's become political, where they encourage that sort of thing. And so now you're not getting a discussion when you're watching something about, well, the Redskins did this or this football game or that match or whatever. It's all about the sports and the wokeness of it. And so to see a basketball game with everyone wearing Black Lives Matter shirts and the coach is talking about how horrible the United States is, and you know what? I've been professionally involved with sports for over 20 years now. It's the way I make my living. And to see the fact that that's taken the #1 place over it because China says so tells you that Disney's being smart business-wise and saying, you know what? If this film bombs here in the United States, we have the Chinese market. So don't think for a moment this movie's not going to be a success. But China will not allow it to be a failure.
No, they're not making China happy with this one because they're releasing it on Disney Plus at the same time it's being released in China. Now, whether or not they release it on Disney Plus in China at the same time, that remains to be seen. I do not think they would do that. I don't think Disney has the balls to do that, to tell you the truth. So, well,
I think they have an arrangement with China in general and how that's going to roll out too. So I think it's, understood there too, and they're going to have to work on that too, because the Top Gun movie with Tom Cruise, a lot of fear about that is how they're changing some of the stuff on the jacket because of the Chinese market. And if we understand that that's how it is, a lot of people are refusing to not pay for it. So if $30 is too expensive and not worth it, more power to you. Don't spend it. If you want to buy it and think it's a value, that's great. Disney's going to win no matter what out of this situation. I just really believe that. And again, not the biggest fan of Disney.
All righty. I think that's pretty good area to close out on it. Unless either one of you guys have a last word on this that you think hasn't been covered.
No,
I'll just say this: I would want to separate with that. Instead of smashing that thing with the baseball bat, I want to lit on fire.
That comes afterwards. By the way, those things are huge, and that would be a huge, huge fire.
I'd have a bonfire, and I'd be cooking hot dogs above it.
Yeah, and by the way, yeah, if it's one of those things. If I'm just very glad YouTube didn't exist when I was young, because we karate chopped and kicked it, did all sorts of stuff to these things as well. It's ridiculous.
I'm just
yeah.
You know what's funny? I wonder if you're gonna start seeing YouTube. But where do you get YouTube Red Premium? Where you pay for that service? Imagine if you had to pay for
Didn't that go
YouTube.
away? Isn't it now YouTube TV?
No.
I don't know.
It's still there. My brother has it. He likes it because they don't listen to the ad stuff. But I'm thinking like, well, if we're going to the way of streaming service, wouldn't YouTube? It's one of the last free stuff there is you watch. Imagine if I gotta subscribe to the YouTube so I can watch your channel.
That would suck for me. But anyway, yeah, that all I know is the people got YouTube Red, watched Karate Kid, and then got rid of it.
Well, it's going to Netflix, sir.
Thank goodness. All righty, gang. That is what we have to say about that. Thank you very much for hanging out, Paolo and Maranya, Zach, Mom. And
all I gotta say to Mulan is sayonara. I am not gonna watch that crap.
Sayonara. Okay. Thanks. Yeah, I know.
I don't care.
Don't tell him. Don't tell him.
Well, I don't speak Chinese. I only speak.
No, yeah, you just proved it right there.
He probably thinks the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor.
Forget about it. He's on a roll, Rob. Oh, goodness gracious. Now I'm trying to figure out. Wait, okay. How do you say hello and goodbye in Chinese, in Mandarin?
Konnichiwa, isn't that so?
No, that's Japanese again.
In Japan, yes. Because I only watch Japanese stuff. Sorry, Chinese stuff.
Ni hao, ni hao. That was it. Ni hao is hello. So there you go. All right. Anyway,
how you say?
Don't do it. Don't do it.
You say NBA. That's China.
You did the voice. We're
fine.
Kill the stream. Sweep the leg.
I know, right? We're less than 300 people away from hitting 1,000 and becoming monetized, and this is the video they're going to point to that's going to destroy it for us. Which, by the way, once again, guys, don't forget to share. We are not a monetized channel, but we are getting close. We're trying to get to 1,000 before the end of the year, so please, by all means, click like, click share, click dislike. Any kind of interaction helps out, but make sure you get word out about the channel so we can make our goal. Thank everybody for hanging out with us. Professor VENKMAN, Rob, thanks for talking about this with me, as well as Black Lotus, Maranya, Zach, Paolo, and everybody, Joe.
And your mom?
Mom. And to everyone, thank you very, very much for watching. Have a zippity-doo-dah day, and remember,